All right, we're going to talk about the upsets in the 2023 NCAA Wrestling Tournament, starting at 125. This weight was bonkers, to say the least. But let's
Yes.
go round by round here before we get to the big kahuna. And first one I see here is Killian Cardinal upsetting
Yes.
Caleb Smith.
100%. I mean, we kind of in our predictions we kind of pegged that Cardinal was going to pull off this upset. He was returning All-American. Him getting the 28th seed seemed like a complete shock and very big surprise. But yeah, no, comes out, knocks off the 5 seed right out the gate, follows that up. Yeah, no,
Well, we had anticipated him facing on against Michael D'Agostino instead of Jory Volk, who
yes, yes,
upset him. So
yes,
Cardinal beating Volk, not the craziest, but
yeah.
Volk beating D'Agostino, and
That
D'Agostino, who was a former All-American, going 1-2 in this tournament as the 12th
Yeah,
seed.
he was ranked even in the top 5 for part of the year too. So it was like it was wild that that guy didn't even get close to the podium. He only had one win. That's bonkers.
Insane. And then everyone's going to be talking about Matt Ramos. Jimmy Kimmel's talking about Matt Ramos.
Yeah, I saw that.
What's crazy is look at the margin of victory 3-2
Yeah,
against Nico Provo, 29. Barely beats, squeaks by Jarrett
yeah.
Tremblay
Took him to the double overtime, the
six
tiebreakers.
to five. And I think he got like a last minute takedown or something in that match. And then
Yeah,
he did
no,
the
yeah,
same
yeah. It was
thing.
like almost like Trombe blew it.
Yeah, Tremblay blew it. And then he does the same thing, 8-7 match against Cardinale, which was another crazy
Yeah,
match.
that was like last second too. Like it was like Cardinale got the takedown to take the lead, and then Ramos got the reversal like seconds later. Like
Even though he's the 4 seed and he was supposed to be winning these, he clearly wasn't wrestling at his best, or maybe these other guys were showing up more. But
yeah,
I mean, this is the biggest shocker of them all. No one saw this one coming. Maybe only Matt Ramos saw this one coming. Pinning
he
Spencer
knew, he
Lee
believed.
in the semis.
Yeah, that match is gone down in history, wrestling history, as one of the greatest upsets ever. Like 3-time national champ Spencer Lee, like it's hard to fathom.
And what's crazy, like you were saying earlier, this was his largest margin of victory the entire
Yeah,
tournament.
yeah,
Before the pin, he was winning like 11-8 or something with that crazy
yeah.
six
If the
point
pin
move.
didn't get called, yeah, that's what the score would have been. Yeah,
So Matt Ramos makes the semis, ultimately loses to Pat Glory. I mean, how about this? No one really saw Pat Glory, even though he was the 2 seed undefeated. I don't think anyone pegs Pat Glory winning this thing. They probably had him against Spencer Lee, and Spencer Lee taking him down in the finals. But
yeah. Before this tournament, it's like impossible to bet against Spencer Lee and think that you're going to actually be right. So yeah, I don't think anyone was pegging Glory was going to finally, make his way to the top of the podium. But Matt Ramos knocking off Lee, I think maybe made it a little bit more possible for him. I don't know
yeah,
that Glory could have knocked off Lee like Ramos did.
it's the equivalent of Dan Gable losing. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's the impact Spencer Lee's had on the wrestling scene for the past, I don't know, 5-6 years or so. So those
yeah.
are those are some of the biggest upsets. Another good story, Eddie Ventresca, the 27 seed. How about this, making the quarters and taking Liam Cronin to sudden victory? And
Yeah, that was a huge.
he fell short, but he ultimately All-Americaned.
Yeah, he finished seventh, 20 places higher than his seed. I mean, seeds don't mean all that much, but yeah, definitely
Means something.
a great path for him. I mean, even the 7 seed getting knocked off by Wagner, no one really expected him to go 1-2. But yeah, Ventresca had a hell of a tournament. He showed up and I mean, knocking off Poulin and then McKee. I mean, McKee was a 2-time All-American, finishing third and fifth. Like, didn't even get close to the podium this year. Usually McKee tears up the consolation bracket. So yeah, Ventresca had a hell of a run. The only thing that I wish I would have been able to we would have been able to see is Lee in the consolation bracket to see how he would have responded after that Ramos match, see how he would have done against Courtney, who had Lee had beaten in the to get a title before, and then against Noto. Like I would have loved to see him wrestle back to just see how he responded, if he was the same Spencer Lee that we've known, or if he would have wrestled any different.
Yeah, they blamed it on injuries, but I think it was just an
I,
ego
I, I mean, I think
shot.
if he pulled out the win, I don't think he would have sat out of the finals.
No, no, he would absolutely be out there for his fourth victory and
Yeah, so
probably a hot stroke or
I wish we
two.
could have seen him wrestle back for third to just see how he responded, how what he did. I feel like he would have killed these guys. Like I feel like he would have been on the warpath, but
Oh well.
unfortunately not.
Moving on to 133 upsets. I mean, this one was pretty good too. Not as many quantity of upsets, but the impact similar, I would say. Similar. We'll get there. First round, Chance Rich beating Chris Cannon, All American, 6-5, close match.
Yeah, that wasn't expected. I thought Cannon was going to make his way back to the podium. He
And
did not.
Cody Fippen from Air Force with the pin over Ragusan. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
that's wild. Yeah, guy from Air Force coming out of nowhere and knocking off returning All American Ragusan. Like, oof.
Yeah, he almost beat Latona. Latona and Arujau. Arujau's one loss of the year was against Latona, but he was able to beat him
Yep.
this time around. This one right here, Vito Arujau not only beating Dayton Fix, but majoring,
Yeah,
dominating.
that's he. It wasn't even if you were watching the match, it wasn't close. Like Arujau was in 100% the driver's seat. Fix could not stop anything. He had no response, and it was like amazing to see because I was like, I don't think Arujau stands a chance against Fix. Like Fix has always made it to the finals, and then to watch that happen, I thought like if anything, it would have been the reverse before watching it.
Yeah, we had pegged Roman Bravo Young and Dayton Fix on a different level than everyone else. Maybe McGee and Arujau were just like this close, but we didn't think it was possible. And then RBY McGee, this one
Oh
goes to
yeah,
overtime, and we would have seen what would happen, but they cut to Vito's face if you were watching it real time, and we missed RBY's takedown. But McGee got the
oh
first score, and he was winning that match for a decent chunk of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, McGee had it. Like he took him to the brink. I mean, I don't know how he managed to not pull it off. I kind of wish I had seen him pull it off. I kind of wish we saw McGee or Rujau in the finals. So instead of the two returning finalists, it was two new guys that both got knocked off. But
And then Vito Arusha just absolutely dominating RBY. I mean, we've never
yeah,
seen RBY like that in years. Two-time national champion,
yeah,
10-4.
yeah. He just got out wrestled in all positions. Like he could not score on Vito, and he could not stop Vito's attacks. It was Vito clearly made a statement at this tournament. It was a wonderful thing to see.
For RBY, who is so known for his speed. I mean,
Yeah,
Arujau just looked so much faster than him. It was
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. That was something else. Because it was like RBY was like, oh, I can't even move quick enough to stop that. Okay.
What was the best was his dad Vogar's interview where he's like, where does your son get it from? He's like, the genetics.
Oh yeah, that was great. The superior genetics.
Yeah. Uh, so we look into the consies. I mean, the biggest one to note, I think, maybe Jesse Mendez of
Yeah.
Ohio State winning 4 in a row in the consies to
I
take
mean,
top
even
6.
beating, returning All American Ragusan in the tiebreaker in a tie score, that means he just had more riding time. Like that's wild.
And he also beat
Yeah,
Lucas
another
Bird.
returning All American in the same fashion. Like,
I mean, those are those are incredible wins. And look at this, another tiebreaker against Sam Latona, another
oh yeah, no, yeah,
All-American.
that's three in a row where he didn't even score more points. That just means that he had more. He got away quicker than the other guy. Three times in a row. That's not easy to do once against an All American level caliber guy, which we know Ragusan, Bird, and Latona all are. And then, I mean, he even gave McGee a 3-2 match. Like,
Incredible performance, and he's only a freshman. Big things to come, even though he was the
yeah,
13 seed. A lot of people said that was probably a lower seed for him, and he definitely
yeah.
turned out.
I'd even also just say McGee beating Fix, I would say, is an upset. You wouldn't expect Fix to lose two matches in one tournament.
That's true. Yeah, I
Yeah.
even forgot about that. Once Fix lost once, he just kind of fell off. And what's killer is that this was in his home state. It's 10 minutes
Oh
away
yeah,
from his
in Tulsa.
hometown. You think he would turn it up, and he turned down, three-time runner-up, and he takes fourth this year.
Yeah.
No one saw
Clearly
that
didn't
coming.
have the right combination at this nationals.
We're talking upsets at the 2023 NCAA Wrestling Tournament. We're at 141. This one, not as many as the first two, but I mean, there's no bracket that's going to be perfect. There's always going to be upsets. So round by round, let's go. First one right here: Parker Filius beating
Yeah.
number 5 Ryan Jack, and this was a last minute take. I think Filius
Yeah.
took it to him in the third period and scored a bunch
Yeah,
of
yeah. Jack
points.
was winning the whole match.
Yeah, so he's the 12 seed. That's as far as he gets, but he ends up All American,
Yep.
and I think he's a senior, so good on him. How about Bo Bartlett? I mean, the
Yeah.
6 seed, he had quite the run,
Yeah,
making the
knocked
quarters
off
and
Cole
then
Matthews.
knocking
Yeah.
off Cole Matthews to make the
Yeah.
semis.
Yeah, that was a hell of a job.
You
Returning
called that one,
semifinalist Matthews. I mean, he was ranked one most of the year until he got a couple losses, but
didn't
Bartlett,
you?
yeah,
Didn't you call
he
that
really
one?
turned it up.
Didn't you call that one?
Bartlett over, yeah, I called that one. I said Bartlett was going to beat Matthews, but then lose to Alvarez. So that played out exactly as I thought it would.
Hey. And then freshman Lachlan McNeil of UNC beating Vince Cornell of Cornell, and then coming back and taking fourth place in the wrestlebacks. And
Yeah, that
he's
was that was a
another
hell of a
freshman,
job. I
but
mean, he gave Alvarez as close a match as Woods.
yeah, yeah. And then we see it right here: Andrew Alvarez, the champion, beating Real Woods. Hard to really call this one an upset because they were both undefeated. We personally had Alvarez winning this one,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of people would have picked Iowa to take it.
I mean, I don't know. Iowa usually has a bad track record in the finals with their guys. I feel like, at least the recent years. So,
Unfortunate.
but I'd say Dylan D'Amelio is the guy that tore it up on the backside here. Knocked off Crook, then he knocked off Matten, then he had the win over Matthews to become an All American. Then he lost his next two, but like I think he was a man on a mission. He needed to get to the podium, and then once he got there, I mean McNeil beat him up, and then he had the overtime match with Phileas. So like
Hey,
understood.
eighth place is a 17 seed. I'll take it.
Hey, yeah, and I mean you got Phileas right there with the seven, finished seventh. You got Carlson as well, the 11 seed, making fifth place. I mean he was a returning All American from a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
mean I
Lachlan
guess
McNeil, as we said, he beats
yeah.
Malik Hines in the blood round. He beats Dylan D'Amelio, and then he beats Brock Hardy 5-2. That was a surprising one.
I
Make
think
it
it
to
was
the
because
third
Brock
quarter.
Hardy got hurt in that semifinal against Woods. He wasn't quite the same, but I think that's why he injury defaulted out in the fifth, sixth place match. Like I feel like he finished out that semifinal and then he gutted out the Conci semi, and then I think he was just like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, he tried. He got injured 2 minutes in. I think he tried and was
There's
like, I
something
can't
definitely
do
up
this.
with him. Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's got a lot of guts, a lot of grit. But yeah, 4 out of the 8 All Americans were not even top 8 seeds, not even top 10 seeds. You got 11, 12, 17.
Crazy. Crazy. Okay, 149 upsets.
Upset.
This one, not as many, but there's a couple of good stories here. First off, Shane Van Ness taking out Panero Johnson, who barely even beat Alec Hagan. He squeaked by that one in
Yeah,
the ultimate
Pinheiro, I don't
tiebreaker.
know what happened to him in this tournament. He really fell off from,
Well, he's a freshman.
yeah, yeah.
Could
He'll
could
bounce
be the
back.
freshman jitters. He'll come back. Graham Rooks, who had an excellent Big Tens, he takes out number 13, and then he takes out number 4, Caleb Henson, in a
Yeah.
1 point match, and then he was winning against Shane Van Ness and blew it in the last period.
Oh yeah, I thought Rooks had it locked up. I was like, holy crap, Rooks is gonna be in the semis. This is wild. Oh,
Penn
but
State finds a way, as they always do. How about this one? Yanni beating Max Murin 8-7. And if you watch the match,
that,
Yanni was almost on his back too. Murin was like this close to getting some back swipes, would have knocked off Yanni. I mean,
that would have been bonkers.
that's like Spencer Lee all over again.
Yeah,
But that would have happened in the quarters.
yeah. And then I mean, I know technically this isn't an upset, but Austin Gomez going from top ranked guy returning like third or fourth at NCAA's last year, and he only won like two matches. It's like very surprising result
Well, some people
there.
might have thought he was injured or something. I mean, he came out there, he gave it his best, but
He was trying to throw people like crazy. He was like, I mean, what was it? Broke money don't make money or something, whatever the phrase he says. Like
yeah.
he was definitely letting it fly. Um, but I mean, I know this guy only won a few matches, but Dom Demas, 33 seed. I mean, he got two wins away from All Americaning, and it was overtime with Blockus, who ended up being an All American. So one could argue, had he beat Blockus, he might have been the guy that All Americaned as the last seeded guy who only got into the tournament because Milner injury out of it before the
Yeah,
event.
he was
So
even supposed to be there and he showed up for Cal Poly.
yeah, and like he almost made the podium as a guy that wasn't even originally going to be in the bracket. Wild.
Yaya Thomas losing in the round of 12 as the 7 seed. Maybe just a bad draw. He lost to Sasso and then Henson, the 2 and 4 seeds. I think this is a guy
Yeah,
that deserves to be on the podium, but
yeah.
Caleb Henson losing kind of screwed him.
Yeah, Rook's ruined that for him.
But Henson went on a tear and won several matches. But Shane Van Ness was
Yeah.
really the guy that showed up in this weight class, taking third place as the 12 seed. I think 7 losses coming
Yeah.
into the tournament, taking third.
I
Wild
don't
stuff.
even think he placed that high anywhere near that high at Big Tens. Like I
Yeah.
the Big Tens, he's like I think took like sixth or eighth or something, and then here he's third in the nation. Like
And he was taking it to Yanni. I think he had the lead over Yanni pretty late too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, well, Yanni ended up spreading the gap there, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
157 upsets. We were just going through this. There's not really that many. The top half of the bracket. I mean, you look at the quarters: 2, 7, 6, 3, 4, 5, 1, 9.
yeah.
Luan beating Scott. Okay, not really an upset. Humphreys beating Franek, maybe.
Yeah, not
It
really.
really kind of comes down to the Russellbacks.
I think the big the best upset here is Vinny Zerbin's run to the round of 12. I mean, 32 seed. He won in the like the pigtail round, and then wins in overtime over Artelona. Then he wins 3-2 there over Wright, 10-1 over Cracer before running into Franek, the 4 seed. I mean, I'm kind of curious how he would have done against Luan, Andonian, or Scott. Like if he could have knocked off one of them, because Franek ended up taking fourth.
Yeah, would have loved to seen a 32 seed uh,
That would have been wild.
on the podium. That would have been great. But everyone who All Americans was a top 9 seed. The only one that didn't was Cardenas, and he
Yeah.
lost to Ed Scott in overtime. So that could have gone either
Yeah,
way.
like I mean, very deserving right there. It's like right in the mix. But yeah, I mean, Humphreys the 5 seed taking third. I mean, yeah, it's not really all that crazy when you jumble the top seeds. It's like, oh, okay, they're all
Yeah.
finishing kind of where they should have been.
All right, we're doing upset talks, 165 pounds. We got a couple of good ones right here. How about first round, Bubba Wilson of Nebraska beating Matthew Olguin, doing Shane Griffith a favor
Yeah, I
because
think Shane was probably a little bit pleased that he didn't have to go against Alguin for round 4.
yeah, but Griffith almost lost to Roderick Mosey, only winning 1-0. We never see a 1-0.
Yeah, with riding time as a factor, you hardly ever see that. Yeah,
And then Caleb Fish knocking off the big seed Julian Ramirez in the first round. And then he makes the quarters as the 29
yeah,
seed.
knocks off Heller, who'd beaten Facundo. I mean, Facundo had been ranked in the top 10 at some certain points, so Heller winning there, and then Fish beating Heller was definitely unexpected.
And then this is just a great match. Carr Monday rematch. Carr I thought Monday was gonna win it, but he chose
He
bottom
was
for some
he was
reason.
out wrestling him. He was out wrestling him it so well. Yeah, you're right. Bottom. I would have loved to see how that match would have played out had he chose neutral.
Yeah, I think he could have got another takedown, and Carr really just was riding him, wasn't trying to turn him, just riding him, and he got the win
Yeah.
there. On the bottom half, I mean, Cam Amin, I mean, he turns it on for nationals, the 11 seed, taking
Yes.
out Pat Kennedy and Dean Hamidi, which I think I saw that one coming. Amin has beaten Hamidi in the past, but
Yeah.
can't beat Keegan O'Toole to make the finals.
Yeah. And I mean, usually at nationals does seem to turn it up a notch. Yeah. I kind of wish Caleb Fish made it to the podium, not just the round of 12, but Caliendo managed to live up to his seed and won that blood round matchup. Not really an upset there, but
No, and then
um,
Olejnik beating Karkla to make the podium. I mean, that's again a small upset, but Ohio State doesn't get a guy.
yeah,
Uh,
Griffith. Oh yeah, Ohio State doesn't really get. Griffith did upset the 4 seed Ramirez, and then he upset the 7 seed Caliendo. I mean, not really huge upsets there. And then Amin beats him. The 11 seed gets to the top 4.
yeah, and I think Shane Griffith he's going to be coming back next
That's
year.
that's what
I
I'm
think
hearing. Yeah.
that's the big rumor, or maybe not a rumor, maybe it's confirmed, but he wants some vengeance on his fifth place finish. Uh, outperformed his seed, but I think he thinks he could do better.
Well, I mean, yeah, he was right there in that match with Carr too. So like, Carr was a finalist. Like he was in the finals with. Like, if that match goes the other way, he might have been able to beat Monday and be in the finals. You don't know.
All right, we're talking upsets 174. Not a lot here. First round we have Rocky Jordan losing an 8-7 to Mickey O'Malley. Um, but other than that, how about Nelson Brands of Iowa?
That's a guy that turned it on at this tournament for sure.
And what's crazy is I think he was losing to Faison or something. It was a very close match. He ended up winning that one, and then he takes out Ethan Smith
I
to
never would
make
have
the
pegged that. Ethan
quarterfinals.
Smith has got ice in his veins, and he's a returning All American. Like I didn't think Brands was going to knock him off.
But clearly he showed up, and he turned it on in the consolations as well. Uh, where is he? 11 right here beats Edmund Ruth, and then he beats
Yeah.
Peyton Mako to make the fifth, sixth place match, and then
Where
that's where he beats Dustin Plott,
the 5 seed
fifth
in
place.
overtime. That's yeah,
Yeah,
craziness, craziness.
I
It was
think
it was Nelson's brand show. Well, as far as Upset Nation is concerned, it was Nelson's brands.
yeah, I mean, some people might say, oh, Starochi pinning at Labriola in the finals. I think he just caught him.
Yeah,
Labriola kind of went straight to his back. Maybe Chris Foca beating Mackay for third, but as you
in
can
the
see, that was a
tiebreaker.
tiebreaker match. Could have gone either way. Mackay likes those close tiebreaker matches anyway.
Yeah,
Um, but no major surprises in this one. All right, 184-pound upsets at the 2023 NCAA Wrestling Tournament.
yep.
Not too many in this weight class. Brian Benino of Drexel taking out Matt Finesilver in the first round. That's an upset.
Yeah,
And
guy from Drexel wasn't expecting it.
and then Colton Hawks of Missouri taking out 11 seed Gavin Kane.
Yeah, he went on to All American, and Hawks did not.
Aside from that, I mean,
Oh,
maybe you could
Pinto, I
say,
guess.
well, yeah, we were high on Lenny Pinto, and he didn't perform. What I was going to say is Aaron Brooks, the 3 seed, winning it. I don't think that's really an upset. It
And
is for the
a
seed.
two-time returning champ.
Yeah, he's a 2-time returning champ. We were all expecting that, so that's not a shocker by any means. But as we go into the consolation, that's where things start to get a little bit more fun.
Yes, indeed. You got where is he? Gavin Kane. He wins 4 straight just to get to the All American title. He knocks off Hunter Bolin and Abe Assad. I think a lot of people probably saw Assad making the podium, but Kane had other plans. We had Benino, who almost he got to the round of 12 after having knocked off Fine Silver. I mean, wins in overtime, and then Caleb Romero. It's a shame that's who he ran into because
Yeah,
Romero then went on a tear all the way back to third place, beating Hidlay, who I would not have pegged Romero to beat Hidlay.
that was definitely an upset. Hidley was pegged as one of those top three guys at this
For
weight,
sure.
and Caleb Romero. I mean, that's a big win right there.
Yeah, and then you got Feldkamp, the 14 seed. I mean, his path there didn't really. I mean, Pinto, the 13 seed, not really an upset. Hawks, 22 seeds, not really an upset. 9 seed Salazar, I guess that would be an upset, 5 seed difference. But I mean, that gets him on the podium as a 14 seed, where he ended up even beating Kane to get seventh
Seventh
place with the
place.
pin.
Yeah.
So
Good
great
for
job there.
Clarion. Good for
Yeah,
Clarion. Matt Finesilver loses in the blood round as senior, transferring out of Duke. That's a tough one. He lost to Marcus Coleman in a tough, close 4-3 match. But I mean those are kind of the big ones.
yeah,
184. Oh, 197-pound upsets at the 2023 NCAA Wrestling Tournament. This one we thought was going to be like a complete bracket busted, wide open, and it really wasn't the case.
nah,
But there were still some good ones. Zach Bronigal, how about this, beating Michael Beard
yeah.
7-6 in
I
the
mean,
event of
you
16.
watching the match, Beard was winning it, and then it just seemed like Beard like gassed, and Bronigal just kept on coming and managed to outscore him there at the end. Um, yeah, I would say all red over the returning national champ. Not technically an upset, but definitely an upset. Like no one,
Yeah.
yeah, after Big Tens, some people would be thinking that I was one of them that thought all red would win it again, but you don't think the returning national champ's going to be losing uh,
That early.
this early
Yeah.
in the tournament.
How about Jackson Smith, the freshman from Maryland, pinning Isaac Trumbull?
Yeah, that was solid, and he gave Lam a solid match after that.
And then, of course, Tanner Sloan was the story this year. South Dakota
Yeah,
State. He wins against Ohio State. He wins against Cornell, and then he beats Bernie Truax
yeah,
6-4 in sudden victory.
I
And then he wasn't done yet. He wasn't done. He
yeah,
beats
yeah,
Rocky Elam 7-2 to make the
yeah. I
finals.
really wasn't pegging him to get through Truax. I thought Truax was going to take the whole tournament, and then here comes Tanner Sloan making a name for himself here, which was good for him.
I was pulling for him in the finals. It was a tall task against Nino, who's just been a different level this year, but he gave it a valuable effort. But here in the wrestlebacks, how about Warner,
Yeah,
14
Warner
seed?
went on a run. He definitely was showing up for this wrestleback, the consolations here.
I mean, he beats Trumbull, he beats Silas Allred, he beats Cardenas
And then the
to
big
get to
win
the
there over the 4 seed.
fifth
That
place for Warner, caps off a great career for him for Iowa. Um, and then we have Truax Wrestling back for fourth place, third year in a row. He's taken fourth place
tragic.
at three different weight classes. Hopefully, he can come back and take fourth place again.
Yeah, and you got the yeah, that'd be great
A
to see.
four-time fourth placer.
And then you got Max Dean, returning national champ, finishes in seventh. I kind of wish Michael Beard was able to beat Truex so we could have seen Beard and Dean wrestle, have those two ex teammates wrestle in the tournament. But Beard was a match away from that happening.
But how about this? Not Gabe team. Max Dean wrestles his old school Cornell for the
Oh
seventh
yeah,
eighth
in the
place
seventh, eighth
match.
place match, and
Uh,
it was close too. So like that means Dean stayed. Like his teammate would have been right there knocking heads with him. Like
Crazy. Capping off the upsets for the 2023 NCAA Wrestling Tournament, we're at heavyweight, and this was also a pretty clear-cut weight class. Not that many upsets to note, but I mean, we have Trent Hilger. he knocks off Harvard to make the quarters, and maybe Zach Alam beats Treffin. But
Yeah.
other than that, championship round was pretty
Yeah, not
great
much
though.
going on there. I mean,
Maybe Mason
Kirby over
Paris teching
that.
Cassiope
Yeah.
in dominant fashion. I don't think we were expecting that kind of
No, I didn't
performance.
think Cassiope was a tech fall away from Mason Paris, but yeah, that's wild.
And then in the consies,
Yeah,
there's nothing really that crazy.
yeah. Orndorff in the round of 12 as the 16 seed. McKiernan in the round of 12 as the 12 seed. I mean, that's not really all that crazy. I mean, Hilger, he All Americans over the 8 seed, but then loses to Alam, the 10 seed. So we're still talking about the same guys that pulled off sort of upsets earlier on. I mean, Hendrickson pinning Cassiopeia is also kind of a little surprising. You wouldn't think that the statement, yes, Tony Cassiope was teched and pinned in the same tournament, but
I
different
wouldn't.
guys.
Well, even though Wyatt Hendrickson had come in with the pin lead in the NCAA, guy had 3 pins in the national tournament.
Yeah,
Like he really showed up, got some team points for Air Force, and he
yeah,
did it against 2 All Americans,
yeah. No, yeah,
Davison and
exactly. In the Conti
Cassiope.
semis and the Conti finals, that's something else. I mean, yeah, and he got bonus points in the other 2 wins that he had. Like dominant guy. I kind of wish we could have seen Paris on Hendrickson. I know they wrestled during the year, but like I think that would have been an interesting finals matchup.
Yeah, Kirk beating Hendrickson, not really in an upset, even though the seed kind of says it, but
Yeah.
I think, yeah, you can't be upset with third place at the end of it.
No, 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 not at all.
Well, there you have it. Those are all the upsets for the 2023 NCAA Wrestling Tournament. Which one were you most surprised by, other than Spencer Lee? Because that was the biggest one. But it was a crazy tournament altogether. Drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.